went crazy because so many wonderful people to meet that I never would have met otherwise if I had to keep traveling. So it
Yeah.
worked out good. Almost ready. Hey everybody, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. I am so excited to meet today's guest. I actually saw her on a television show that's on Amazon Prime, and I thought she was adorable. And obviously she's vegan. Well, not obviously, but she is. And I contacted her and she said she would be on the show. She's broadcasting all the way from England, so it's nighttime where she is. I'm so excited. She's going to be cooking a butterbean and lentil. I was going to say lentil curly because that's your name, lentil curry, but her name is Kirly-Sue. Please welcome her. It's so nice to meet you. I love making new friends.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is wonderful. The technology, we can meet across the pond, so to speak.
Absolutely. And you're wearing my favorite color. So thank you for that. And, I would love to hear your story because, sometimes when you watch something, whether it's on Netflix or Amazon Prime or even on YouTube, they recommend things for you, they think you would like. So they recommended your show and I thought it was delightful. And I'd love to know more about it, how you did it. It was beautiful. I was just if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about the show and where people can watch it and how it came to be, because it's wonderful.
All right, thank you. The show's called Kirly-Sue's Global Kitchen. So Kirly-Sue spelled Kirly, Kirly-Sue's Global Kitchen. And how I came to do the show is for many years, have been trying to get my own cooking show. So I knocked on a ton of doors and some of them are like, oh yeah, we like what you do and blah, blah, blah. But it never really happened. Or they'll say, oh, well, we have a similar show, or we're not doing a show exactly like that. And there was always some excuse of some sort. So it wasn't necessarily that they didn't like it, it just didn't happen. I mean, sometimes I got really close to when they're like, yeah, we've got the producers on board, blah, blah, blah. It just didn't happen. And then I just thought, I don't think in life you have to always look for opportunities. Sometimes I think you have to create your own opportunities. So I thought, you know what? I do actually know how to create a show myself. I'm just going to make my own show because if I want my own cooking show, guess what? I'm going to make it myself. So I put together the concept and then I thought, okay, there are lots of cooking shows. However, I wanted it to have something a bit different about it. So I thought, how about I film half of it in Jamaica, which is my country of origin, where my parents are from, and half of it in the UK. So that's what I did. So I flew a crew into Jamaica to film with the drone camera and everything. And then I filmed half of it back here in the UK where I live in London. And then once I'd finished the shooting the shows, then I thought, okay, so what do I do with the series now? So then I knocked on all the doors of all these different channels, and some of them broadcast it, which is really great. And then I was speaking to a friend of mine who's like a digital specialist or something. And I said, I have this show, I want to kind of get it broadcast. And he said, do you have a contact at Amazon Prime? I said, actually, yes, I do. He said, use the contact, get it on there, and you will get a lot of views. And within the first few months, it's got 134,000 views, which is amazing. I'm really grateful for that, and rising. That's the last time I looked, because you can check in the back end how many people have viewed it. So that's how that came to be, really. So that kind of tells you a bit about it. The concept of the show is that I go to different countries, learn about plant-based food in that country, and then replicate the recipes I learned back here in the UK. But what happened is the global pandemic, so I couldn't go to any more countries. So that kind of drew a halt on production for that series. But I have a new series that I just started filming last week called Kirly-Sue's Plant-Based Kitchen, where I interview different vegans and do a recipe and so forth with them. So that's really, and it's usually vegans who have a vegan business and they produce a particular ingredient, some kind of product. So I talk to them about how they came to be in business and how they came to be vegan. And then the challenge for me is to create a recipe with their ingredient that they will like and so forth, and then have it on like a table and so forth. So yeah, that series will come out early in the new year in 2021. So started production on that now, and we're filming that now. So yeah, so that's how that came about.
Well, good for you, because that's, I would never be married if I didn't take things into my own hands, because, you got to go for what you want. You can't just wait for, it's not like the old days in Hollywood where Lana Turner was discovered, drinking a milkshake at Schwab's drugstore. You have to create your own opportunities these days. And so
Absolutely.
Doing that.
Thank you.
So will the new show also be on Amazon Prime, or are there other places
Yes.
to watch it?
Yes, it's on Amazon Prime. My manager is in talks with Netflix. It's not a definite, because Netflix is a different platform in terms of getting stuff on there to Amazon Prime. It has different rules and regulations. So they're in talks with it. That's my aim, to get it onto Netflix, because Netflix is the #1 platform in the globe, in the world, and then there's 2 other platforms, and the 4th biggest is Amazon Prime, the 4th biggest in the world. So yeah.
Well, congratulations. Also,
Thank you.
I'm not sure I know your vegan story. When and how did and why did you go vegan?
I was actually a vegetarian before I became a vegan. So how I became a vegetarian is, I'm actually a practicing Christian, and I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, which is a Christian religion. And we're not taught that you have to be vegan or vegetarian, but we're encouraged through our church to eat a plant-based diet. And with the church's potluck lunches and so forth, they're almost always vegan and vegetarian. So I've grown up knowing about plant-based food, but I wasn't really into it. I was familiar with it, but then when I became 18, I decided to become a vegetarian. And then about 8 years ago now, I was doing some research on veganism, and in the my research, I watched Vegucated, Got the Truth About Milk, Cowspiracy, all these different documentaries, Forks Over Knives as well, all these different films and documentaries about veganism. And then I read the book called The China Study, and that's when I had the kind of aha moment, and that was when I decided to make the change to veganism. But it wasn't really a drastic change, because I was already a vegetarian, and I was already a dairy avoider, so I kept dairy to a minimum anyway. So making the switch wasn't really too drastic, because I'd been plant-based for years already anyway. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. What I loved about your show, that, you had the recipe tasters, the family that wasn't vegan. That little girl could have her own show. She was really precocious and adorable. The one that, she was so well spoken.
She is lovely. Her name is Karma Ray Hall, and I I was going to bring her back for the rest of the Kirly-Sue's Global Kitchen series, but yeah, she's brilliant. She's an amazingly talented presenter, and she has a little brother called Malachi, who is a really talented presenter as well. So yeah, she's adorable. I discovered her, her father put a video of her on Facebook, and she looked more like her mother and not the father, so I didn't realize it was his daughter. And I said, oh, this is an amazing child, how did you discover her? He said, oh, it's my daughter. Do you have any opportunities for her? And I said, actually, I'm making a show, let's bring her in. So
yeah, she was really cute. So you're gonna, when you said butterbean in your recipe, tin must mean can in England, right? A can.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so are butterbeans great, what we would call great northern beans or lima beans? I'm not sure.
I think it's lima beans, but these are what we call butter beans. I think they're called lima beans in the US.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that they look like lima beans, or maybe even great more. What do you guys think? You guys saw them. What do you call the beans here? So
butter bean. These we call butter beans.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm gonna make a dish for you. So I have one I prepared earlier. So this is what it looks like.
Wow, looks like a restaurant.
Oh, that's the aim. Yeah. So this is the butterbean and lentil stew curry, and then I've served it with some pita bread and also a side dish of baked plantains on the side. So yeah, that's the dish that I'm going to make. So you put to make the dish, it's actually quite an easy dish to make, because what I try not to do is have too many complicated recipes where it makes the person trying the recipe feel a bit defeated before they start. So I try to come with something that people can achieve quite easily. So basically, you just put your onions, garlic, ginger, so the chopped ginger, um, and so forth into your pot, first of all. And then you're just going to cook those down gently until they're soft. So with the ginger, it's just a small piece of ginger. I think you've got the recipe. I'm not sure if you can post
Yes,
it.
I thank you. I put it in the show notes. So if you're watching on Facebook, you don't see it, but if you're watching on YouTube, the recipe has already been put in the show notes.
Yes, so you put all of those in there to begin with. And then you let those cook down for just about 5 minutes. Doesn't need to be longer than that. So you put, yeah, so it's the onion, the ginger, the garlic, the tomato, and all of that. So they're already in the pot here now cooking. And once they're, let me just turn the fire up a little bit. Yeah, and once they've cooked down a bit, so these have cooked down for a little bit already, then you're going to add your butter beans if you're in the UK, or lima beans if you're in the US. You add those in and stir, and then you're going to add your spices. So you add your curry powder and your seasonal, and I put in a little bit of curry paste as well. You can get Jamaican curry paste or any curry paste, and a little bit of that as well. You don't have to, but I like to add that as well. So you add that in and you cook that down. Now, when you get the butter beans, stroke lima beans in the tin, they're actually already cooked already. So this, you're kind of just warming it through and just letting the spices and the seasonings flavor the butter beans a bit before you add in your lentils and your coconut cream. So the lentils we're going to add in a short while are these red lentils. You can use other lentils, but I prefer these because these are easiest to cook and they tend to have a nicer flavor for this particular dish. So we're going to add the red lentils, and we're going to also add some coconut cream. Now, some people call this creamed coconut, or coconut cream, or if you've got fresh coconut milk, if you happen to live in a part of the world, you could use some coconut milk. You just use half to 1 cup of coconut milk. If you've got the fresh coconut milk instead, you can use that. Or sometimes you get the coconut cream, which is an actual liquid. You can use about 1/4 of a cup if you're using the actual cream, but today we're using the block. So it's just 1/4 of the block size that you get. So just about that much you put in.
So how do you buy that in England? Is it in a jar? Or is it in a, how does that come?
It comes in a little box. It comes in like a little block like that.
Oh, interesting.
And then you can just chop it up. Yeah. All right. So that's cooking there nicely. Then we add our red lentils. So these are washed and ready to go. So you just put those in. And then this is kind of the longest, it's not really long, but this is the longest cooking part of the recipe, is you have to make sure the red lentils are cooked, because you don't want crunchy lentils. So you let those cook through. So once they're soft and almost kind of like a mashed potato-ish kind of consistency, soft like that, then you know your dish is basically ready to add the coconut cream. I'm going to add that in.
What's the plant-based scene like in England? And what part of England do you live in? And are there a lot of plant-based people? I mean, I know we're not meeting now, but like, are there meetups, and what's it like there?
There's quite a community of vegans. So I live in London. I live in North London, and there is quite a lot of vegans in the UK. There's just under 2 million people who identify themselves as a vegan and we have roughly 68 million people in the UK. So it's not a high percentage, but there's a lot of people, a high percentage of people in the UK who are meat avoiders or meat reducers or flexitarians. So they eat meat and fish, but they're quite happy to try vegan options. And we thank God for these people, because if it wasn't for them, the industry with regards vegan food wouldn't be as big as it is in the UK, because there's loads of different vegan festivals, different vegan events. I mean, obviously at the moment they're all online, but usually, I mean, just before the lockdown, I had a book published in November last year. So I was supposed to be doing a book tour throughout all of this year, going to different vegan festivals to promote the book, but obviously that didn't happen. But just to show you, there's so many different vegan festivals. There's even an event called Vegan Camp Out, where you go to this camping event for the weekend, and it's all vegan food and all vegan things there. So it's really great. Yes, I was going to those kind of events. But veganism is very popular in the UK, definitely.
Nice. Do you know any of the vegan doctors in the UK, like Dr. Alan Desmond?
Vegan doctors, there's a doctor called Dr. Chidi Ngwaba. He's a plant-based doctor, and he's really good because he works with people who have diabetes and helps them through diet to reverse it as well. I'm trying to think. That's the only doctor I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more. But yes, we do have different doctors and plant-based medical physicians in the UK as well. Yes.
When you get a chance, could you show us your book and tell us about it?
Sure. Yes. So a book is called Cooking with Kids, and I'd have to pop and get it. So maybe I won't at the moment, or you let me know if that would work. I haven't got it with me, but it's on my website. It's called Cooking with Kids. It's a cookbook for kids and parents, and it's got 75 vegan recipes in there, and it's really colorful and bright and has lots of really good tasty recipes. And even though it's aimed at kids, a lot of adults buy it, and the feedback I got is, I'm not used to cooking vegan food, so I knew if I got a kids book, I'd have recipes that I know I could make. So I thought, okay, that's something. That's cute. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So when we get a sec, I'll show you the book. Yeah. As well. So this is cooking along nicely. Yeah. It smells divine. You can see the heat coming up and so forth as well.
What's your favorite type of food to prepare? Vegan food.
I do have a sweet tooth. I do like sweet things. So I do like to make cakes. But in terms of vegan food, this is one of my favorites, butterbean and lentil curry. That's why I made it today. I love plantain, boiled, baked, fried, any way you want. Plantain, I love it. Apart from raw, I just love it.
You guys have Instant Pots and air fryers?
We have air fryers, yes. What's the other one called? The
Instant Pot, it's a pressure cooker, an electric pressure cooker.
Yes, we do. I don't know if we have that brand, but yes, we do have pressure cookers, yeah, because I have one. Yeah, definitely. We have all of those things, yeah.
Oh, do you go to Jamaica often? Because JL says, are there many vegans in Jamaica?
There is a big movement of vegans in Jamaica, and I'll explain. There's a group of people in Jamaica called the Rastafarians or Rastas. Now, Rastas, the genuine ones, Rastafari is a religion. So it's a group of people who that's their religion. They only eat vegan food, and they only eat whole food plant-based. So they wouldn't have tofu, religious Rasta. They wouldn't have tofu because it's processed. So they only have whole food plant-based diet. So because you have the Rastas in Jamaica, Jamaicans in general are familiar with vegan food. So they may not necessarily always call it vegan, but if you say Ital food, which is vegan food eaten by Rastas, everybody in Jamaica will know what ital food is. I mean, veganism is becoming popular globally. So I think now in Jamaica, a lot of people will know what you're talking about. But, you know, maybe people of a particular generation may not be familiar. So, but the minute you say ital food, they'll know exactly what you're talking about, because you've got ital restaurants and stuff as well. So it's brilliant when you go there. It's not a problem to eat at all. So yeah, it's a good thing. Even in the restaurants cater, and the hotels cater for vegans as well.
A question about what kind of curry are you using? What kind of curry powder?
Jamaican curry powder, mild. Yeah, I don't use the hot stuff personally. Yeah. I can take hot pepper, but I don't think it's very healthy to keep having too much hot food. So I just use mild Jamaican curry powder. Yeah.
Okay, terrific. Looking for questions. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, on your YouTube page, I was watching a bunch of videos, and your most popular one is a sponge cake.
Yeah, how to make a vegan sponge cake, which is quite interesting, because if somebody had said to me, if you wound back the clock before that video was posted, and somebody said to me, oh, your most popular video is going to be how to make a vegan sponge cake, I would have thought, nah. But you just don't know what's going to go really well on YouTube sometimes. So yeah, that's my best performing one. Yes. And I'm actually due to make a revised version, because how I make sponge cakes now, I have a new recipe. So I'm going to be making a new version of that now. Yeah. So you can check it out on my channel.
Yeah, I'm sure I put it in the show notes, and if I didn't,
Yeah.
I'll put it there if it's not there right now.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure it's there. Yeah, we've had a lot of Adventists on the show. Dr. Hans Deal, Dr.
Oh yes, I do know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, he founded the CHIP program. Dr.
Yes.
Dr. Neil Nedley. So yeah, quite a few.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, he has some books as well, Dr. Hans Neil.
Mm-hmm. So that's why we don't have them on Saturday.
Yes, that's exactly it. So this is more or less coming up to being done now. So when it's almost done, then you add the coconut cream or creamed coconut, and then you just let that. Once the coconut cream is melted, because it's like a block, once that's melted out, then you're good to go. Eating time is here.
Have you been to the United States ever?
Lots of times, because I had a show on 3ABN television for 4 years, and I was supposed to go this year. Wasn't able to go. I was supposed to go to film some more shows this year, but once the pandemic is over, I'll be going back to film some shows.
I was, where do you film those? Because I think I was on one of their shows once.
The studio is in West Frankfort, Illinois.
Oh, it's in Illinois. Okay, they might have because I think I did an Adventist show once, but I filmed it in California. So Illinois, wow.
Oh, there's more than one Adventist studio. The California one might be Loma Linda. That might be Loma Linda.
So you go to the one in the Midwest, but you got to tell them you want to go to the California one next time.
Okay. Well, yeah. The one in the Midwest, wow, it is a mission to get there from the UK, because you have to fly London to Chicago or Texas. Then you have, which is about 9 hours. Then you have to change to a domestic flight and fly domestic to St. Louis, Missouri. And then when you come off, then it's a 2.5-hour drive to get there from St. Louis. So it's quite a mission to get there.
Yeah, it's easier to do Zoom, isn't it?
It's just a tad, yes. So just going to put a tiny bit of water here.
How old were you when you moved from Jamaica to England?
I was born in England, and when I was 5, my parents moved me and my sisters to Jamaica for about 4 or 5 years, and then I came back when I was 10.
So you definitely got the English accent, not the Jamaican accent.
Yeah, I can switch the Jamaican one on, but yeah.
Anybody else in your family vegan?
No. I've got 1 or 2 cousins are vegan, but my immediate family, there's mainly vegetarian, or they're meat avoiders. Meat reducers. So they eat meat and fish, but not red meat, and not a lot of meat. Yeah. All right, we are done. So we'll just.
I love plantains, but I never really know how to cook them. I have some frozen ones from Trader Joe's in my freezer, and I'm thinking, what should I do with them? Air fry them?
Okay, so if you go onto my YouTube channel, there is a video on how to cook plantain. Yeah, so you can do it in your oven, how to cook them in your oven. So if you've got them frozen, I'm assuming they're already peeled.
Yes.
So I defrost them, slice them, soak them in water for about 10 minutes, and then put it on a baking sheet, a greased baking sheet, or on greaseproof paper or parchment paper, whatever you call it. And then bake them, and then you can brush them with a little bit of oil, or you don't have to. And then you just let them cook for about 20 to 30 minutes on a medium heat. Done. So that my video shows you how to do it. Yeah.
Nice. Do you personally have an air fryer?
An air fryer? No. I want to get one though.
Yeah, because Laurel, who's watching live, said she air fries her, and I thought that would be good.
Yeah, that would be good. I should get one. So so there we go. We are done. I'll just hold it up so you can see it. Done, and that's how it turns out. And then you just add your pita bread, a little garnish, plantain, and then you have your butterbean and lentil curry, and it's delicious.
Well, it's like you could have it now because it's dinner time by you. That looks amazing.
It is, yeah.
Nancy says, does Kirly-Sue have a favorite place to get Jamaican spices and other ingredients online if we can't find them in a neighborhood store?
Online, it depends where you are in the world. So if you're in the US, to be honest, most things you can buy online. So if you just put in all-purpose Caribbean all-purpose seasoning, I'm sure there will be a retailer that will come up online, or one of the big online sales platforms will have it, definitely.
Great.
And depending on what neighborhood you're near to. So if you're near to a Caribbean community or a Puerto Rican community or something like that, you will have the spices not far away. Or nice. Indian, yeah.
Guys have any questions for Kirly-Sue? Type them in the chat if you do, and I'm going to ask her, how did you get the name? I'm going to guess because your name is Suzanne and your last name is Curlew. So, but how and when did you get the name Kirly-Sue?
I wrote my first book in 2012, and when I was writing the book, my first cookbook, I just thought, what am I going to call it? So I just thought, well, I was kind of struggling with the name, and then I thought there are some chefs who have a name that's not on their birth certificate, let's put it that way. They have like a screen name. So I was kind of thinking, and then I remembered when I was little, people used to call me Kirly-Sue because my hair is naturally curly, and because my name is Suzanne, people used to say Kirly-Sue. So I thought, actually, I could use my childhood nickname because it's kind of an anagram of my name, or a version of my real name. So I came up with the name Kirly-Sue, and then I thought, okay, Kirly-Sue's Kitchen, done. So that's how I came to do that.
That's very clever. A lot of people in the United States, they're obsessed with this show called The Crown, and then previously Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
Are people in England also obsessed with those shows, or is it just people here?
It's right at the top, because The Crown is quite interesting because it shows you historically different things that have happened. So it's kind of like a nice history lesson, but done in a more entertaining way. Because I've watched The Crown. I haven't watched the new season 4, but I've watched from season 1 all the way through. And it's quite interesting because I live in the UK, and these are people that, you see, not in my house, but you see them around all the time. It's quite interesting to see a bit more about them, because I didn't realize the monarchy does have power, but not as much power as I thought. And I didn't realize they had as many kind of rules, regulations, restrictions, things they can and can't do. And I didn't really know why they had to do certain things and so forth. So it was really interesting. And yes, it's hugely popular here, definitely.
Was Downton Abbey as popular? Because that I saw, and I cried when that went off the air. That was my favorite show.
Yeah, it was hugely popular. I didn't watch Downton Abbey, but yes, it was definitely
Well, you
hugely
must
popular.
watch it. It's like, it's amazing. It's one of the best shows ever been on television. It's so,
Okay,
no,
I'll
really,
have a
it's
look.
so good. It's so good. Anna
Okay.
and Bates, especially. No, it's wonderful. So there's a question, what can you substitute for butter beans?
For buttolines, you can use cannellini beans. I don't know if you call them cannellini beans.
Mhm.
Any kind of bean or pea that is easy to cook. So I think you call them navy beans. I don't know the American name, but if you Google, you could use chickpeas. I think you call them garbanzo beans.
Mhm.
You can use garbanzo beans, chickpeas instead. That's a really popular one if you haven't got butter beans, cannellini beans. Yeah, anything like that, really. Yeah.
Nice. Jackie says, what is the most popular vegan Jamaican dish?
Vegan Jamaican dish. All right, let me think. What's the most popular? Traditionally, Jamaican dishes are not vegan, but there's a lot of vegan versions you can get. So I would say the most popular one when I go to Jamaica is Jamaican patties. Um, they're kind of like a pastry with a filling, and it's kind of like a yellowy, flaky pastry. So those traditionally have meat, but they have a huge amount of vegan ones. So they have soy ones, ackee, which is like a fruit that's eaten as a vegetable. They have callaloo, which is like like greens, kind of like spinach, and different ones like that they do. So that's available, that's really popular, and I think people eat them whether they're vegan or not. Yeah, I think that's the main one.
Nice. Question about the lentils. How long do they take to cook and on what heat?
To put it on a medium heat, and they'll take about 20 minutes to 20 to 25 minutes to cook down. Yeah.
Nice. Joe says, what does she like to do with dark leafy greens?
I like dark leafy greens. I like them in a salad. When you have some people call them a Buddha bowl or a grain bowl. So you have all the different, I like to put dark leafy greens in there. Juicing, I juice quite a bit. So I will make a green juice. So it will have spinach, cucumber, celery, apple, and lemon in it. So that's kind of my flu buster for the winter time.
Nice. Laurel says, what other vegan Jamaican dishes do you like?
I love stew peas. Now, even though it's called stew peas, in Jamaica, beans are called peas. So they're actually kidney beans that are cooked in coconut milk with fresh herbs and spices. And when they're soft, you have it with some rice. And I have a recipe for that on my channel as well. Stew peas. That one is really lovely. Yeah.
Stoopy. How do you spell stoopy?
No, stewed peas.
Oh, okay. I'm like, Stoopy. That's like not, that's funny.
Yeah.
And do you ever cook greens? Joe wants to know.
Do I ever cook greens?
Yeah.
Yes, sometimes I do. I'll do like you can have spinach that you just put a little bit of seasoning with it, and you can like put it in the microwave and it wilts a little bit and you have it like a side dish. I do that. Or you can put greens into something like this that I've just made. You can mix in some greens into that. Or sometimes if I make my own pizza, I put the fresh basil on top as well. So yeah, I use greens all the time. Yeah.
Nice. Wait, did you want to go grab your book and show it?
Yeah, one sec. Let me grab it.
I'll entertain the troops while you're gone and tell you guys, you got to get on my mailing list because, every Saturday we send out who's going to be on for the week. And so tomorrow we have Ryan Flegel, who has a vegan hotel in Costa Rica. Tuesday, we have a doubleheader with Heather McDougall and Dr. Doug Lyle and Dr. Jen Hawk. Wednesday, we have a medical school that has a culinary medicine program on. On Thursday, we have 3 shows. I don't know how this happened. Dr. Vanita Rahman, Marcos Borges, who's Beyonce's trainer, and Dr. Greger with his new book. On Friday, Dr. Gabrielle Lapman. on Saturday. Dr. McDougall's back for part 2. So definitely get on the list so you can get the schedule. So we've got the book. Great.
Yes. So it's called Cooking with Kids. And I'll just show you a bit inside. It's very colorful, the pictures and so forth, the recipes. And then it's got some information at the front about if you want to do plant-based cooking. So I'll just show you there. So you can see it's really colorful, and it's got some juices and stuff at the back as well. So there you go.
Nice.
And it's available from my website too.
Oh, on your website. Okay, great.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
You gonna write another book?
Yes, I'm working on a new one for the new series, Kirly-Sue's Plant-Based Kitchen. So there will be a book to accompany that series. Yeah,
Great.
so I've started on that one.
Laurel says, who illustrated the book?
This was published by Stambra Press, and the publisher, the illustrator is Abigail Murphy, is the graphic designer who did it, who did a fantastic job with all the illustrations.
Yeah, it's busy.
Yeah.
So I thought I asked this question already. Nancy keeps posting it. Does Kirly-Sue have a favorite place to get Jamaican spices and other ingredients online? I could have sworn there's deja vu. I think I asked it, didn't I?
Yes, you did. And my response was, it depends where you are in the world. So I don't know where Nancy is. She might be in the US.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Nancy, tell us where you are. Yeah. So
yes. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, Laurel says, how did you work with the illustrator? Laurel's an artist, I got to tell you. That's probably why she's asking so many artistic type questions.
Okay, so should I finish the spice question first and then go to Laura's question?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So where do you get the spices from? Because you need them to be local to where you are, I would Google Caribbean spices, and then put in the name of the area that you're in. So say, for example, you're in New York, where to buy Caribbean spices in New York, and then it will come up with a list of different people who sell it. And there probably is a website that you can get them from. So yeah, you just do a Google search, you'll be able to find it. I can't really tell you where I get them from because I'm in London and I'm guessing you're not nearby, so that's not going to help. So in terms of working with the illustrator, how it works when you have a publishing deal is you just give them all the text and they do everything else. All they said is, give us all the text for the book, and then send us a picture of what each recipe looks like. So they have a rough idea of what each thing looks like. And then they created everything else. So what they do is they draft it and then they send it to me to have a look. And then they say, what do you think of it? And I was like, wow. But before I signed the book deal, they did already say, they did have a mock-up of the book. So I knew roughly what it was going to look like anyway. But it's kind of different when you see your own recipes and your own stuff in the book when you actually do it yourself. So yeah, it was really great. So yeah, that's how you work with them. They basically do most all of that. Yeah,
really, really pretty. Let's see.
Thank you.
Let's see. Laurel says, what other Caribbean spices do you use?
There's a lot. So pimento, there's the Jamaican curry powder, let me think, cinnamon, nutmeg, garam masala, because Jamaica has it's predominantly, we're descendants of the African slaves, but there's also Indian indentured laborers and Chinese indentured laborers, and it's a mixture of all those kinds of cuisines from the different parts of the world. That's kind of mixed together. So there's curry powder as well, seasonal, which you mentioned before. Yeah, those are kind of the main ones that I can think of off the top of my head. See what else. Yeah, and then all the I try to use fresh ingredients as much as possible. So I have a recipe called wet seasoning. So it's a mixture of spring onions or scallions, some people call it, garlic, ginger, regular onions and so forth. I've got a recipe for that on my channel as well. And you blend that together and you use a bit of that in different recipes. And what you can do is use like an ice tray and put some of the mixture into the ice tray and freeze it, and then just take blocks out when you need it for your recipe.
That's a good idea. Do you tend to cook like this every day, or do you tend to eat more simply?
I try to cook fresh food every day, yes.
Nice. Do you have a favorite meal you make?
Stew peas and rice is my absolute favorite meal. Stew peas and rice with plantain is my absolute favorite.
I don't know why that name Stoopy just sounds like it'd be like you can name a dog that, or a term of it, Stoopy. That sounds something like Seinfeld would say. That's very cute. Let's see.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's been fun meeting you. And do you know any other vegan chefs that I might be able to meet to interview in England? I'm trying to get a little bit more global with this show.
Yes, there's a lady, she's Asian. I can't remember. She has an unusual name, but I can message you her details.
Yeah, I'd love to, I'm booked till March 23rd, but I'd love to have some more people. I've had some people from Australia, so it'd be fun to go a little bit around the globe.
Yes, the Indian lady, she's really good. Shambus, her company's called. So there's her, and there's probably one or two others I can think of as well. I can send you some details for them as well. So there's loads of vegan cooks in the UK. Yeah,
that's so cool. Well, I'd love to meet them all. So thanks. It was so nice to meet you. Congratulations on all your shows and books.
Thank you.
And
I hope people like yourself continue to watch the series Kirly-Sue's Global Kitchen on Amazon Prime. It's on there now. It's available in the UK and the USA as well.
Absolutely. Give it a try. It's fun. She goes to really fun places, and it's fun seeing, like, it's such a great concept seeing how the people in that country do it.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow when my guest is Ryan Flegel. He is the man that opened the first vegan culinary school, to my knowledge, in Los Angeles and gave me my start over 20 years ago. And now he has a vegan hotel, and he'll be joining us from Costa Rica. Thanks again, Kirly-Sue. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.